and become renewed. Know the masculine, but cleave to the feminine. Know the bright, keep to the dull. Understand glory, keep to humility. Small amounts are obtainable, large amounts are confusing. He who does not focus on himself becomes brilliant. He who does not compete with anyone, hence, no one in the world can compete with him. And one more time, he who does not focus on himself becomes brilliant. Who said all this? Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu. Because this has to do with being. This is why I read those. And now I'm going to read to you from Genesis, the 2nd chapter, and the 7th verse. If you have your Bibles, don't look it up, because I'm going to read to you in Aramaic and then in English. Okay? I'll read a phrase at a time, and then I'm going to get into the meaning of the words. Wagbal Maria Laha Ladam, and Yahweh God fashioned, formed the earthling. I didn't use Adam because Adam is not a name. This is not a name here. This is a description. Adam means something that's earthy, very earthy. Apra min Adamtha. And God fashioned, Yahweh God fashioned the earthling from not dust, but from the soil of the Adamtha, the earth. You hear the connection? Adam, Adamtha. And the word Adamtha is feminine. From the feminine earth, the earthling God fashioned. Not through yet. One pach, Bapau, Nashamtha, the Haye. And he blew. I want you to get the feeling of this. And he blew into this earthling. And he blew into the nostrils the breath of life, the Hayye. Wahwa, Adam Lampish Hayyan. And this is my talk. And Adam, the earthling, became a living being. A living being. You got to realize that when you're reading this, the real mystery here is this is the only thing in God's creation. Animals breathe. Everything breathes that's living. But when it came to the earthling, It was the breath of God. The breath of, it says Yahweh God. Always its name. In our English translation, no one leaves the name of God in there. They always say Lord God. But it's really Yahweh God, which means God is. It's always in the present. So it's only the beings from the earth that have the breath of God. In other words, when we breathe in and we breathe out, when we breathe in, we always think oxygen. Yes, we are. We're breathing in oxygen. That's what science tells us. But the spiritual message in the scriptures is that being, along with oxygen, has a different type of breath than anything else. We have a different type of breath. Listen to me. When you breathe in, you're breathing in more than oxygen. You're breathing in the power and essence of God that keeps you as a living being. Living being. Listen to it. Being is both a noun and a verb. It has two meanings there. When you say being, it means a noun. But when you say being, it's an action verb. It has action with it. You know, when I think of everything I see and hear on the radio, you know what I'm discovering? And I'm discovering from it because I need it just like everyone else does. When I hear all this stuff, and all the things that we're doing in politics, that we're doing in all the leaders of the world, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense because we refuse to acknowledge who and what we really are. And it's time for us to wake up. And I don't mean just us here, I meant globally. Globally, we need to wake up. And we need to supersede politics. We need to supersede religion. We need to supersede and go and transcend beyond all of that and get back to the original self that we truly are. You said it in your opening today, reading it from the words that we had in meditation. To know the true self. The true self is being. I love what it says. Not human being, but what? Living being. Living being. And it's when we take everything so seriously, instead of realizing it, you are above that. You are beyond that. Your being is, not your mentality alone, because we struggle with that. But it's your being. Our being encases 15 billion years of history. Did you hear what I said? Our being encases 15 billion years of history. You are tied to what we call the past. There really is no past. But we call it past because we measure everything. Just like time. We measure time. So we measure the movements of everything. But in reality, it's not true. We are connected. We are connected. We are never disconnected with the past. And we're always, because it's always, everything is in the present. Everything is here right now. Right now. And when you realize that, then you have peace. Then you have joy when you awaken to this. Oh, I wanted to jump in with the dancers this morning. I did. I thought, okay, you got to talk, Rocco, so just sit here and love what you're seeing, which I was. Because it's what we saw was an expression of being. It was an expression of being. And I tell you, when you watch the news and see this, sometimes I'm looking at it and think, am I really seeing this? Am I really seeing this? The pitcher gets a ball in his hand, whoop, and whacks the batter. The batter throws down the bat and runs to the pitcher and boom, 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 boom. What is that? I'll tell you what that is. It's not realizing that the pitcher and the batter are beings. They think of themselves as animals and as what we call human beings, but they're not. They're not. They don't realize what they are. What they are. And this is what we need today. You know, and science has done this to us. Let me tell you that. Science has done it to us because it fills our children and fills our mind with materialism. It fills it with the idea that you're nothing but material. No, sir. We are beyond material. And now there's a big change coming. And look at all the names they've given us. Look at them. Homo erectus, right? Homo habilis. Homo sapien. Listen to it. Now, how sapien we are, I don't know. I think that's a wrong name. It's a misnomer. Homo sapien. What they miss is, and this is the new name I give it, Homo spiritualis. That's what we are. Homo spiritualis. We are spiritual beings. And this is what needs to be taught in schools, needs to be taught in churches, everywhere. And forget the doctrinal. You see, that's the trouble with when they took the Bible and they made dogma out of it, they ruined it. They ruined it. What you need to see in the scriptures is the true meaning of it. The classes that I'm teaching on consciousness on Tuesday night, I gave them a definition about religious and spiritual stories. These stories, encoded in these stories, is the encoded form of metaphorical and metaphysical truth that cannot be described literally. Literally. This is why we have all these fantastic stories. And just as I told them Tuesday night, I said, we need myth. We need myth because people don't understand that word myth. Myth means something false, and that's not the real meaning of the word myth. The real meaning of the word myth is a story that teaches you about yourself that you missed before, and they don't realize that. They think it's something false. As I even brought out the comics, Superman, Batman, and the Black Panther. What is that? It's a myth. It's making superheroes out of human beings. And what does that mean? What does that mean? What it means is these stories, because see, we've thrown myth out. That's why the comics are popular. And this is why the movies, all these superhero movies, are popular. Why? I mean, I prefer stories over superheroes, but I was brought up on it. But what does that do? It lifts the human spirit and shows you something more. I'm so glad my mother didn't deprive me of Donald Duck. And didn't deprive me of Mickey Mouse or Superman or Batman. When she'd come home from the grocery store, I'd always look in the bag to see if she had a comic or two in there. Because it stretched my imagination. But you know what I went to first? The first thing I opened to was the back of the comic books, because they used to put little mazes in there that you have to. Do you remember that? I don't know how many of you. You're going to let me know how old you are now. Those little mazes in there, and that's the first thing I would go to before I'd read the comics, because I would examine the maze, look at it carefully before I put the pencil in there. I looked at where the center was. I looked at where the beginning was, and I examined it carefully. I thought, if I go that route, I wouldn't put the pencil on it yet. Once I got it figured out, then I did the pencil, whoosh, boom, right center I went. And we need to take time out in our lives to do the same thing. Look at it, but realize the center. The center is being. The answer to everything is within your own being. That's what people don't realize. That they keep thinking, they keep looking to, we need this man, we need that woman, we need this. No. All these karmic things were a reflection, and it's turning on us and telling us, hey, this is what you are on the inside. As I told them again on Tuesday night, I said, Dr. Viktor Frankl, psychiatrist who was in the Holocaust and survived it. He says, what we need to do is emphasize and overemphasize and glorify a person. And when you do, they straighten up. He knew that. And just think, look at what he came out of. You talk about chaos. You talk about brutality. You talk about suffering. Look what he came out. And how did he come out? Not bitter. Not bitter. He came out with a logotherapy. He started a whole new form of psychiatry. And you know, getting people to really understand what they are is a job. I'll never forget, one of the hardest things I ever had to face. This was when I was in San Antonio. And I always worked with people. I did a lot of counseling work, tremendous amount of counseling work as a pastor in San Antonio. And I forget, this one time, this was the greatest challenge I ever had. In fact, it was even more difficult than physical healing. It's with this person who had, I forgot the name of it now. Just can come to my mind now. When you have that phobia where you're afraid to go outside, it has a certain name, and I forgot the name of it, a certain phobic name. You know, even the word phobic sounds phobic. Doesn't it? Oh, he has a phobia. And this person called me up, and because I had been on the radio. I'd been on the radio with Dr. Lambs in San Antonio and all of that. And this person had heard about the different things that I had been doing. And so this person called me up and said, I need help. I can't get out of the house. And then that's what she told me. That she'd been to the psychiatrist and all that, and they were working with her fear. And I said, if you want my help, you're going to have to come to me. She said, well, how am I going to get there? I said, that's your job. I'm here. I'll be able to, and I'm no psychiatrist. I told him that. I'm no psychiatrist. I said, and do you know what? She managed to come. She wanted it bad enough. She wanted it bad enough. She came, sat down, then we started dealing with it. But she said she blindfolded herself, and a friend picked her up, put her in the car, and brought her to, and she took it off when she got into the church and sat down with me in the office. And so we talked, and we talked. And I said, and the more I talked with her about this particular problem that she had, agoraphobia, that's it, thank you. And the more we talked about it, I said, okay, we're going to drop talking about that. I said, now you told me enough, I know. And I said, what if the roof should fall in on you right now? What are we going to do? To fall in on me too at the same time. I mean, she was really scared, very scared. I said, you got to get your mind off yourself. You're trying to protect yourself. The more you're trying to protect yourself, the worse it gets. The worse it gets. I said, you have to let go. You have to let go. And I don't want to tell you her name, but I spoke her name. I said, now I want you to say, I let go of Sutu. Her name. I'll make up a name. Let's say it's Mary. Okay. I let go of Mary. I let go of Mary. I said, come on, keep it up. I let go of Mary. Oh, I said, I still feel Mary hanging on. She's clinging. She's afraid. I said, but there's something bigger in you than Mary. Mary is just a name that people gave you when you were born. That's not you. That's just a name to identify you as long as you're walking around here. I said, you got to realize that there's something more in you than Mary. There's something more in you than your name. And that is being. Being. And this is what I told her. And she had to come 2 or 3 times. But each time she came, no blindfold. It was slow. But finally got through. But it was the hardest one I ever do. Because I had to work with the thought. Because the thought transmutes into form. And once it becomes form, then it stays there. So you have to go behind the form. You have to go behind the form, get to the thought, and dismantle the thought. When you dismantle the thought, then it cannot transmute into form. It can't do it. This is the capabilities of being. This is the capability. If only our politicians would know that. But no, it's like memory said, bend, what? I love that. Bend and become straight. Yield. Yield. And what happens? Become whole. You become whole. And this is something you do inwardly. And I'm telling you, no one's going to do it for you. That's the awful thing about it. You see, we can help you on the road. Point, show, and you get all these things. But in the end, you have to do it. No one else is going to do it for you. Just like when people used to say, because several people that I used to work with, they got healing from, they always giving me credit. I said, quit it. Quit it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I can't heal a flea. I can't heal a flea. But there is a power. And there is a presence. And there is a being that you are that's greater than anything that is physical, political, religious, and it's beyond it all. This is what Jesus realized. That's why he could say, take up your bed and walk. And I love what Jesus wasn't bound by doctrinal beliefs. This is why he could look at the people and say, and he said to all of them, the you is plural, not singular. You, all of you, or you all. You all are the light of the world. What are you waiting for? You know why we're here? And I'm going to use something different here. I'll tell you why we're here. We're here to divinize the globe. I'm going to say that again. Divinized. You know, I mean, just like when people say, like I was in a New Thought church once, and this person got up and they got up and said, I'm God. Did you hear me? I'm God. And I was sitting there thinking, oh God. Oh God. And they didn't get it. She said, I'm God. What does that mean? To say we are divine means we are, and I'm using divine now as a verb. We are here to divinize. Not politicize, not religiousize, not any of these things. We are here to divinize, to make the globe divine, to make the earth divine. This is what we're here for. In your home, you're in your home, in your marriage, in your job. I mean, you are to divinize your job. You are to divinize your home. You are to divinize your family. You are to divinize all of this. I know I'm supposed to stay center. I forget that. I keep moving this direction. Supposed to so that you can get the picture of me. It's, if you are divine, then you are to divinize. Make everything around you divine. Make everything around you divine. Mm-hmm. Even the relatives you have a hard time with. Divinize them. Divinize them. Mm-hmm. Oh, they may make fun of you. They may do all this. They may that. It doesn't make any difference. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget when my father used to beat me. And he did. And God rest his soul. He died at 96. But it was a few years ago. But when he used to beat me up, for what reason? What did I do wrong? Because I went to church. And he was not an alcoholic. He wasn't any of those things. But he had in himself an anger that it didn't take much to set it off. In fact, he used to tie my hands behind my back, sit me in a chair, tie my hands, and then stand in front of me and said, "I'm your God. Do you hear this? I'm your God." And then slap me. And sometimes he used to kick me into a corner. Now, I'm not saying this so you feel sorry for me. What I want to tell you is, when he was through with me, and I went into my bedroom, I got down on my knees. I got down on my knees, and I said, "Father, my father doesn't know what he is doing. And I asked God to forgive me. I don't know how or what I set off in my father, but I don't know. And I'm not looking for blame. See, I don't look for blame, but I had to find something in myself. And even though my legs hurt, my arms hurt, my face was red, I got up strong. I got up strong. I did not resent my father. I didn't, and at that time, he kept that up till I was 17. 17. I was with him from 12 until 17. Because I got married when I was 17. That's another whole nother story. It's amazing what can set people off that you don't even know. We don't know. But I tell you what's lacking. What's lacking is that understanding that we are spiritual beings. We are being, right? Noun, verb, being. We have to know what it is. And that's what Yahweh means. Not he who causes to be, but he who is. He who is. And that's the secret. When you find that real essence of your being. The capacity, the power, the energy, I can visualize it. My being is this tremendous, they talk about the atomic power. The power in a human being. Just remember, it is a human being that has produced atomic power. It is a human being that's done that. So, what can we produce as the spiritual beings when we begin to exercise that sense of being? And this is what we gather together in church for. It's to help encourage that dynamic of being. The dynamic of being. When you do that, then you don't need anything else. And you don't worry about God. Say, well, you're not giving God the glory. Oh, yes, I am. I love what God said. Let us make humankind our image and our likeness. Our image, our likeness. It said, let us. Now, who's the us? Well, you have to come Tuesday night to find out, because I'm going to tell it Tuesday night. And you'll be surprised. And then after the man and the woman ate of the tree, and God had to put them out, and what does God say? He turns and says to them, no, not them, but to someone else, he turns and says, they have become, they have become what? Like us. To whom was he speaking? Not angels, because they're subordinate. Why was such a story told? It was to recognize that even though we see physically and hear physically, we can also hear spiritually and see spiritually and walk spiritually and understand spiritually. That's why it was written. Not that, is it true? Did God just take a lump of the earth and just form a man and then go and make him come alive? No, you're missing the point. It's what the meaning of this is. When you breathe in the breath of God. You breathe in your spirituality. You breathe in your power. You breathe in your peace. You breathe in your joy. You breathe in your glory. You breathe in all of it when you breathe. I got to go pray. No, sit down and breathe and you'll get it. Sit down and breathe and you will get it. You think you need words? Just breathe. Breathe, because you have the breath of God. You have the breath of God in your body, in your cells, everywhere. They need it now. So breathe. You don't have to get on your knees. You don't have to crawl. God doesn't want that. God didn't make servants. He made his image and his likeness, and it doesn't crawl.